John Isaac Geneve is a brand that was launched last year, middle of last year, in France and the United Kingdom. It's a brand that's dedicated to the new generation. We make watches of the top quality, 100% Swiss made, dedicated to the young and the young at heart. So we really make watches that fit on the wrists of the 15-year-olds as much as the young at heart, meaning people that are maybe 50 years old but feel young. As you can see from the watches here, it's a mix of a fairly classical, timeless design and some surprising, fresh, dynamic elements such as collars, such as brushes of steel, such as size and thickness of the case, so that we create this tension and this paradox between a very classical watch that will be there for the rest of your life and will be timeless, and something which is also more new, more modern, younger. The origin of the brand is a young designer whose name is John Isaac. He was the person who did the customization of the vintage Rolexes about 6 years ago by painting the dials of vintage Rolexes with butterflies, with different surprising elements like flowers, butterflies, and other interesting designs. And his watches were sold throughout the world in the trendiest shops such as Colette, Corso Comodieci, Barney's in New York, but also in Tokyo, LA, everywhere. And that success showed how this interesting mix of a very classic design such as a Rolex, and at the same time new elements being brought into the Rolex that were completely new, created a fantastic equilibrium that young people loved. On that basis, we created a collection, which is the one that you see here. We make watches that are steel in base. Every component is manufactured in Switzerland, so it's entirely Swiss. We use the best suppliers that you can find in this country. We will have the same suppliers that supply Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet. The crown is the same supplier that supplies Rolex when Rolex has to purchase a crown outside of their manufacturing. And on the complications, all our watches are mechanical and automatic. We don't make quartz watches. Even our gold is solid gold. We don't do any coating, so that these are watches that are real high-end and real quality. And so even our complications, we use some of the best movements in the market, mainly the ones from Dubois des Pras, which we have developed together with them. For our chronograph, our jumping hour, and our moon phase, those movements are manufactured by Dubois des Pras together with us. Our concept is really to have a watch that is adopted by the younger generation, but ends up also being and fitting very well on the wrists of the older, young at heart people. And what we see is exactly that. It's a design that the new generation, the young people love, but the parents use it as well and love it. And obviously, sometimes we will see more the gold watches and the watches with the diamonds on the wrists of the older people, but nevertheless, it's a watch that really spans across the 15 to 50-year-old category of people. We have a very particular approach, which is quite new in the high-end watch industry, which is that we sell online. We are very digital because we address the new generation, which itself is very digital. So we are very present on the net, and as such, we have an e-commerce, and we ship worldwide within 48 hours. And additionally, we have a try-on policy where somebody who wishes to try the watch and orders it on our site will not be charged for 14 days for their purchase. And if within 7 days they decide to send it back to us, they can send it back to us via DHL, and all of this completely free of charge. So there will be no shipping cost either going to the customer or coming back to us, and that allows the person to try the watch during 7 days without any cost. Finally, we also have another very interesting characteristic, which is that precisely because this is a watch that we want to be worn 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we have an insurance that covers during 2 years anything that happens to the watch. You drop it and it breaks, it gets stolen, and you make a police report, you scratch it really badly. If something happens to the watch, we will either repair it or replace it entirely for free during a period of 2 years. And this, of course, is on top of the standard warranty terms that all the brands have. But this is again to illustrate the fact that this is a watch that we want to be on the wrists of young people, but also have them wear it as opposed to put it in a drawer and only take it out on special occasions. In order to make that possible as well, our pricing policy is very interesting as well. Our watches, as I said before, really use the best components you can find in the industry, and nevertheless, our steel watch start at approximately 1,500 Swiss francs. Most of our watches are priced around the 2,000 franc mark, and even our model here, the one diamond and silver that has a diamond bezel, is priced at 3,500 Swiss francs. So we really try to have a very approachable pricing policy, and we managed to do that because of our mixed distribution channel, which includes e-commerce. So our margins allow us to have a final price to the customer, which is very interesting. We also have a traditional distribution policy where we only work with iconic shops, and very few of them, apart from obviously our online distribution e-commerce structure. And right now, having launched in France and in the UK, we are present at Colette, we are in Paris, we are present at Bon Marché in Paris, and we're also present at Harrods in London. Our distribution policy coming for the future markets in which we will be present with shops will follow exactly the same lines. So we will only be with a very select and a very small number of shops that will usually be the most iconic, recognized, and prestigious shops in those markets. We are about to be launching in a new country. In March, we will be launching in Brazil. And I can't tell you much more about that, but that's basically the latest news in terms of our expansion and our distribution policy.